everyone, welcome back to Native Speakers Channel. I'm Sarah, and I'm so glad you're here with us today. We've got an amazing topic lined up that I know will really help you on your English learning journey. So let's jump right in.
Thanks, Sarah. Hey everyone, Johnny here. Today we're talking about something that practically every English learner asks us about: how to improve your English fast. We're breaking down the secret to improving your English fast. 3 proven steps. These aren't just random tips we found online. These are strategies that actually work, based on real experience and real results.
Absolutely. And Johnny, I think before we dive into the 3 steps, we should talk about what fast actually means, because I think a lot of people have unrealistic expectations.
That's such a good point. When we say fast, we're not promising you'll be fluent in 2 weeks. What we mean is that you'll see consistent, noticeable progress in weeks and months rather than years if you follow these steps correctly.
Exactly. Because here's the thing. Most people spend years studying English, but they're not studying effectively. They're using methods that don't work, or they're not being consistent, or they're just consuming content passively without really learning from it.
Right. So if you're currently studying in an ineffective way, these 3 steps will dramatically speed up your progress. You'll get better results in 3 months than you might have gotten in a year with ineffective methods.
Perfect. Okay, so let's get into step 1. Johnny, take it away.
All right. Step 1 is what we call strategic input. Now, I know that sounds a bit technical, but it's actually pretty simple. It means being intentional and smart about the English content you consume.
Yes, and this is so important because most learners just watch random English videos or read random articles without any real strategy. They're not thinking about whether the content is at the right level for them or how they should engage with it.
Exactly. So let me break down what strategic input means. First, you need to consume content at the right level of difficulty. There's this principle called I+1. Have you heard of this, Sarah?
Yes, it's from language acquisition research. The I is your current level, and the +1 means content that's just slightly above your level. Not too easy, not too hard, just challenging enough to push you forward.
Perfect explanation. So if you understand about 90 to 95% of what you're reading or listening to, but there's that 5 to 10% that's new and challenging, that's the sweet spot.
Right, because if content is too easy, you're not learning anything new, but if it's too difficult, you'll just get frustrated and probably won't understand enough to learn from context.
Exactly. So how do you find content at the right level? Well, for beginners, look for content specifically designed for English learners. Graded readers, learner podcasts, simplified news articles. For intermediate learners, try TED Ed Talks, young adult novels, or clear podcasts on topics you already know something about.
And for advanced learners, you can start consuming native content, regular movies, podcasts, books, but still be strategic about it. Choose topics you're familiar with because your background knowledge will help you understand even when the language is challenging.
Great point. Now here's the second crucial part of strategic input. You have to engage actively, not passively. Most people just watch a video or read an article and then move on. That's passive consumption.
Right. Active engagement means you're doing something with the content. You're taking notes on new vocabulary. You're pausing to repeat sentences out loud. You're watching the same video multiple times to catch things you missed the first time.
Yes, and here's a specific technique I recommend. When you watch a video, watch it 3 times. First time, just get the general idea. Second time, turn on English subtitles and write down phrases you want to learn. Third time, no subtitles to test your comprehension.
I love that. Repetition is so underrated. People think they need to consume as much content as possible, but it's actually much better to engage deeply with less content than to skim through tons of content superficially.
Absolutely. Quality over quantity when it comes to input. Okay, so that's step one, strategic input. Find content at the right level and engage with it actively. Should we move to step two?
Yes. Step 2 is targeted practice. And this is where a lot of learners really miss the mark. They know they need to practice, but they practice randomly, without any specific focus.
Right. Targeted practice means identifying your specific weaknesses and designing practice activities specifically for those areas. So first, you need to know what you need to work on. Is it pronunciation, grammar, fluency, vocabulary?
And the best way to identify your weaknesses is to get feedback from someone, a teacher, a language partner, or even just recording yourself and listening back. You need to be honest about where you're struggling.
Exactly. Once you know your specific challenges, you design practice for them. Let's say your problem is pronunciation. You wouldn't just speak more English in general, you do specific pronunciation drills. You'd practice minimal pairs like ship and sheep, or record yourself and compare to native speakers.
Right. Or if your issue is fluency, you know the words, but you can't get them out smoothly, you do different practice. You might do shadowing exercises where you speak along with native speakers, matching their rhythm and speed.
Yes, shadowing is amazing for fluency. Or you could do what I call talk aloud sessions, where you set a timer for 2 minutes and just talk about any topic without stopping. You're not worried about mistakes, you're just training yourself to keep the English flowing.
I do that. It's uncomfortable at first, but it really helps. What about grammar practice? How would you make that targeted?
Good question. Instead of trying to learn all grammar at once, focus on one structure at a time. If you're struggling with present perfect, just work on that for a week or two. Create your own sentences using it. Look for it in your input content and try to use it in real conversations.
And this is where feedback becomes crucial again. You need someone to tell you if you're using the grammar correctly or if you're making mistakes. Without feedback, you might just be reinforcing errors.
Absolutely. And that applies to all practice. You need feedback to know if what you're practicing is actually correct. This could be from a teacher, a tutor, a language exchange partner, or even AI tools for writing.
Right. Okay, so step 2 is targeted practice. Identify your specific weaknesses, design practice activities for those areas, and get feedback. Now let's talk about step 3.
Okay, step 3 is consistent implementation with feedback loops. I know that sounds complicated, but it really just means two things: practicing consistently every day and regularly assessing your progress so you can adjust your approach.
Yes, and honestly, this might be the most important step because you can have the best strategies in the world, but if you're not consistent, you won't see results.
Exactly. And here's the key. Consistency doesn't mean you have to study for 3 hours every day. It's actually much better to do 20 to 30 minutes every single day than to do 3 hours once a week.
Absolutely. Your brain needs regular exposure to form and strengthen those neural pathways. Daily practice, even if it's short, is way more effective than occasional long sessions.
Right. So, how do you maintain consistency? First, schedule it. Don't just say, I'll practice when I have time. Put it in your calendar at the same time every day. Make it a non-negotiable appointment with yourself.
Yes, and start small. If you're just beginning, commit to 15 minutes a day. Once that becomes a habit, you can increase it. It's better to consistently do a little than to burn out trying to do too much.
Great advice. Another strategy is to integrate English into things you're already doing. Listen to English podcasts during your commute. Read in English before bed. Follow English social media accounts. You're not adding time to your schedule, you're just using the time you already have more effectively.
I love that approach. Okay, so that's the consistency part. Now let's talk about feedback loops. What do you mean by that, Johnny?
Feedback loops are about continuous improvement. You practice, then you assess how it's going, then you adjust your approach based on what's working and what's not. It's a cycle of constant refinement.
So, practically, how do you do this?
Well, I recommend keeping a learning journal. Every day, write down what you studied and any breakthroughs or challenges you experienced. Then every week or two, take some time to reflect. Ask yourself, what's working? What's not? Am I seeing progress? Where am I still struggling?
And based on those answers, you adjust your approach. Maybe you realize shadowing exercises are really helping your pronunciation, so you do more of those. Or maybe the podcast you're listening to is too difficult, so you find something more appropriate for your level.
Exactly. This is what we mean by a feedback loop. You're constantly evaluating and adjusting to optimize your learning.
And I think it's also important to celebrate your wins along the way. Language learning is hard, and it's easy to focus on everything you can't do yet. But take time to notice your progress. Did you understand a conversation that would have been impossible a month ago? That's worth celebrating.
Absolutely. Positive reinforcement keeps you motivated. And speaking of motivation, let's talk about handling plateaus, because everyone experiences them.
Oh, yes, you're making great progress, feeling good, and then suddenly you feel stuck. It's so frustrating.
But it's totally normal. Sometimes you plateau because you need time to consolidate what you've learned. Other times you need to adjust your approach. The key is to not panic. Go back to your feedback loop, assess what's happening, and make adjustments.
Right, and sometimes changing things up helps. If you've been focusing on speaking, shift to writing for a while. If you've been studying general English, maybe dive into English for a specific purpose, like business or academic English.
Great advice. Okay, let's also talk quickly about mistakes, because I think fear of mistakes holds a lot of people back.
Oh, this is so important. Mistakes are not just normal, they're necessary. You cannot learn without making mistakes. They're how your brain figures out what works and what doesn't.
Exactly. Native speakers make mistakes all the time, too. The difference is we don't let it stop us. So you need to reframe mistakes as learning opportunities, not failures.
Yes, and this is why practicing with feedback is so valuable. You want to make mistakes in situations where you can be corrected and learn from them before they become bad habits.
Right. But you also need to balance accuracy with fluency. You can't be so focused on perfection that you're afraid to speak. Sometimes you do careful, accuracy-focused practice. Other times you do fluency practice, where the goal is just to communicate, and mistakes are okay.
Perfectly said. Okay, we're running close to the end here. Should we recap the 3 steps?
Yes, so just to review. Step 1 is strategic input. Find content at the right level and engage with it actively, not passively. Watch the same videos multiple times, take notes, repeat phrases out loud.
Step 2 is targeted practice. Identify your specific weaknesses and design practice activities for those areas. Get feedback so you know you're on the right track.
And step 3 is consistent implementation with feedback loops. Practice every single day, even if just for 15 to 20 minutes, and regularly assess your progress so you can adjust your approach.
Perfect. And the beautiful thing is that these 3 steps work together. Your strategic input gives you material for your targeted practice. Your practice helps you identify what to focus on in your input. And consistency with feedback loops ties it all together.
Exactly. And these principles work for everyone, whether you're a beginner or advanced learner. You just apply them differently based on your level and goals.
Right. A beginner might watch simplified videos and practice basic sentences, while an advanced learner might watch documentaries and practice giving presentations. Different level, same principles.
Perfect. So our challenge to everyone listening is this. Pick one thing from each step to implement this week. Choose one type of content to engage with actively. Choose one skill to practice in a targeted way, and commit to doing it consistently for at least 15 minutes a day.
Yes, start small, be consistent, and trust the process. You will see results if you follow these steps.
Absolutely. And remember, we're here to support you. If you have questions, leave them in the comments. If this was helpful, subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future videos.
We're going to be diving deeper into each of these steps in upcoming episodes, so definitely stick around. Thanks so much for listening, everyone.
Thanks for tuning in. Now go out there and implement these steps. We believe in you.
Happy learning, everyone. See you next time.